Oh God! Wait, did it start?
Yeah,
It
it
did.
started.
I was just kind of mentally preparing myself.
Okay, for a second I thought it started counting back up, but I
We should
realized
just
it
start
was
like
rolling.
that. That should be our start.
Yeah, I know, right?
Did it start?
That's how rusty we are.
On that note,
Keep that in, Nigel.
Wow. That's a first. Like, keep that in instead of
yeah,
cut that out.
look at that.
Look at that. Breaking new grounds in season 2.
Well, welcome back to the Krewe Japan podcast. It's been a long time since you've heard our voices, and honestly, it's been a long time since we've heard each other's voices as hosts on this podcast. Hey Jen, hey Nigel, they're here with me. Say hi.
Hey.
Hello. What's up?
It has been quite a while. We've only been talking through like messaging, and so this is our first time actually talking one-on-one with each other.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously the big elephant in the room, the reason why is because this podcast is based out of Louisiana, and about, what's it now, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
God, it feels like 2 years.
Going on the third week.
No.
It feels like 2 years.
So what happened? What happened 2 weeks ago, right?
Oh, just a little storm.
Freaking hurricane hit us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not be familiar, maybe our international audience, I'm sure they heard somewhat to a little bit of an extent, but maybe not to the extent of the coverage that was going on here in the southeast of America. We had Hurricane Ida pretty much smack dab hit us right in the face with a nice hard punch on August 29th, 16-year anniversary of Katrina, ironically, which is not really, I don't know if it's ironic, but just
it's something
it's
for
kind
sure.
of ironic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is what it is. But it was crazy and kind of threw everyone for a loop because no one really knew what was coming until probably 2 days before, three days before.
Yeah, 2 days before. No, 2, because 3 days everyone was still. A lot of people were debating about just staying.
Yeah.
And then like the second day before, I saw it jump to a category 4, and I was like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not staying. I've seen this before. I don't want to relive it.
Yeah.
I left.
Yeah, we were on the fence about leaving too, and then we actually stuck it out. Until like Saturday evening. I went to Rouse's to get ice. Rouse's is our local supermarket chain, to get ice, and managed to find like a few packs left. Got a few bags of ice, and then stopped for a beer run and some fried chicken, because that's in the personal like joke with me and my family. Our hurricane meal is Brothers fried chicken. Gas station chicken's the best. I don't know. I don't care what anyone else says in New Orleans, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast. But yeah, so like it was just my the 4:00 announcement came out that it was like pretty much moved more eastward towards like New Orleans and Kenner, where I live, and at that point I just like got home and I was like, let's go, let's just get out of here. We'll find a hotel. Managed to find something out in Texas, and a normal 5-hour drive took almost 12 hours to get there.
Well, yeah,
but
because you waited so long.
No, and to be honest, it didn't take that long to get to Lafayette. Lafayette's usually like a 2-hour drive, and it actually took us 2 hours to get there. We didn't go I-10. This, for all the non-Louisiana listeners, you probably don't know what the hell we're talking about, but it's crazy. Like the stretch that normally would take maybe 2 hours to get to Texas took like 8. And that was just gridlock traffic on the interstate. It was nuts.
Yeah. So to backtrack a little bit, the storm Hurricane Ida ended up being a Category 4 hurricane. It was a few miles per hour under a Category 5. Actually,
yeah, it was flirting.
Yeah,
it was right on the cusp.
Exactly. So it made landfall here in Louisiana, and was quite devastating to especially the parishes. In other states, you have counties. We have parishes.
The only state with parishes.
Yes, the only state with parishes. But it was pretty devastating to the parishes that are right there on the coast, at the bottom of the boot of Louisiana. And it actually was pretty devastating for the rest of us in its pathway as well.
Yeah.
Thousands of people, I believe the actual number ended up being like around 1 million people, right? Were without power.
Oh, yeah, I think it was over 1 million.
It was over 1 million people we're without power for uh, many days, some a week. I think some people probably still don't have
Oh
power.
yeah, in those regions along the coast, I mean, they're not
Mhm.
expecting power back to them until possibly the end of the month, end of September, which is crazy.
Right.
Um,
Especially, in a world where we record this podcast and we can talk to each other instantly from three different locations and see each other, for a storm, natural event to damage a city and cause people to go without electricity and water as well for
yeah,
months, is quite
Yep.
bizarre,
yeah, and I mean, we like if you come to like the New Orleans, greater New Orleans area. I mean, most of the areas have their power back in this area, and I think water. We evacuated. We were out of our house for about 8 days. Jen, you were what, almost 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know when you guys got power back. It took us. It was about a week and a couple days after power went out when we got ours back, and fortunately, our internet came back with it. The cable and internet companies didn't know what the power situation was, so they couldn't even check to see if there's a signal. So it's like, and water was still under boil advisory. I think another day or two after we got back to our house. So it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I actually, for listeners out there wondering, I haven't said, but I actually stayed here in Louisiana. Next time, I don't think I'm going to do that. That was it was quite an adventure, and I was that was a very sleepless night. The storm made landfall overnight, and I thought I was in that movie 1917. If you've seen that movie, the sound of power lines exploding was just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I was without power for days as well. I had a generator, um, didn't use that, but it's the biggest struggle with this one was really finding gas. That was like the nightmare. If you stayed, it was like, okay, I have a generator, but my gas is now running out. What am I going to do? And the lines to get gas were the most insane that I've ever seen them. I mean, going blocks. And I've seen video and footage of it, New Orleans, it was like 10 blocks long, to get gas. And
yeah,
And not only long lines, but from what my friends were saying that stayed, fights were breaking
yeah.
out.
Shooting. Eeh.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately saw somebody actually lost their life, over it as well. So yeah, it was a very, 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 I don't even know what to call it. Very interesting past 2 weeks, and we actually had we planned on actually releasing season two, the first few episodes of season two over this period. Uh, but obviously, like we've been talking about, this hurricane pretty pretty seriously delayed our progress. But we do have some good news for you. Who would like to break that good news?
You break it.
yeah. You break it, Nigel.
Oh well, I
That
I
silky smooth
I,
voice I haven't heard in 3 weeks.
I set it up only for myself. That's selfish, right? But um, well, we are back in the fold. We're working on season two, back in the groove. Or at least getting back in the groove. And we're happy to say that season two will begin airing on October 1st, 2021.
Do 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 do.
Yes. So
Sports Center breaking news, even though it's not a sport. Never mind.
you never know. When you're looking at that podcast, like the top podcast chart on like iTunes and Spotify, it's like a sport.
We're
Yeah,
inching up
it's
there. We're like literally
yeah, it's
inches
like
from the
some
bottom.
Hunger Games. Yeah, I know. Maybe center metering it up there. I don't know, or something.
Intermetering it.
We'll coin that one here. But yes, so we're
Yeah.
so excited to get back into taking weekly audio deep dives into Japan, its culture, its history, and even more this season. So we can't wait. We're going to, like I said, start airing on October 1st, and over this weekend we'll be dropping some special things on Instagram. Hopefully, keep your eye out. But yeah. Anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I'm I'm super excited for season 2. We had some really good content that we were preparing and getting ready to release for the towards the beginning. We may push some of that or spread some of that out. Now we have to kind of shuffle our org chart of our episodes because we had some that were going to be released timely for some reasons or another. So we have some catching up to do with other folks to get things coming up. But we do have some really good, fun episodes coming up that I think everyone's really going to like. And, let us know again still if you have ideas or thoughts or types of episodes or content you want to hear about. That's what Instagram, Twitter. Don't make me go and ramble out all those names. I'm a little rusty here on the Pod of Japan Crewcast. No, I don't make me go and do that right now. I'm gonna get ready mentally. I got to prepare myself
Oh
for those
yeah.
outros. Got to up my game in season 2.
Yeah, we have like a Crew of Japan fitness plan we all do during the season and everything. And we got a diet and all, we're getting back
Cut
into it.
weight, especially after this evacuation.
Oh
Ugh.
gosh.
I've gained so much weight.
Oh yeah, I think all
Fast
of
food and
us.
beer.
Mm.
Being trapped in a hotel. It was
Hurricane snacks.
Yeah, so Doug, it's Brothers Chicken so gas station chicken and then Famichiki when you're in Japan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that
Okay.
actually could be an episode. I might put that on the old docket of episode topics: fried chicken, U.S. versus Japan, and just
Oh
go from
wow.
there.
Oh,
I don't know.
we'll have to do a debate episode. We'll bring
Yeah.
somebody in who's like fried chicken all the way, and then we'll bring
I,
you in for
Oh, I
Famichiki.
think I know
Uh-oh.
who.
all right. So, all right. Oh my God, this actually wasn't an idea I had until about 2 seconds ago. So, thanks, Nigel. Thanks, Jen. But yeah, no, Jen, do you have anything you wanted to get people excited about the upcoming season?
I wish. Honestly, it's a bit rough over here on my side. So I don't know. I've been for this whole entire week that I've been back in town. I've been trying to be very positive, and you know what? I am very positive. I'm fortunate that it wasn't as bad as it could have been for
Yeah.
me. I'm very, very fortunate, and I count my blessings, and I'm very grateful for the fact that I still have a home to live in, and it's a roof over my head. I'm very, very grateful. But you know, there are problems I'm facing, and I'm having like really bad Katrina PTSD right now for this whole week. Because I lost everything during Katrina, and so I'm having flashbacks of those stupid military trucks I'm seeing again, and the stupid laminated white sheets of paper as menus at restaurants, and restaurants closing early, and nothing in the stores to buy. It's oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. And
So
hey,
yeah.
we're here for you.
I know,
Like
I know. Y'all are a great support group, and I hope
Yeah.
that our listeners will enjoy season 2, because I'm honestly, I use the podcast to like just take me away from life and just enjoy myself, because I really do enjoy recording with y'all and talking about Japan. And so yeah, I'm glad that I'll have the podcast back, because I think I really need it right now.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm being serious when I say like I missed you guys like talking because we would talk like every week,
I
right? At
Yeah.
least once.
know.
Yeah. And then
And
like text every day, pretty
yeah,
much all day. So
Yeah.
it may be
yeah,
a day or two before we hear from Nigel, but
yeah. I'm a bad texter, I know. But like Jen was just saying, I mean that's kind of the reality that's been going on behind the scenes, which is why we were a little delayed in getting to airing season 2. So hopefully you've bared with us, and you can forgive us.
The point being is that we do hope that you as listeners, we really do want you to enjoy season 2. Even though we had some setbacks, we're still going to try and work our hardest to make it even better than season 1. So we really do hope that you enjoy and that you support our podcast.
Yeah, and I want to echo also what Janet said about we had I could only speak for myself, but we had damage at our home, damage in our like we there's some cosmetic stuff, but we were very fortunate in the grand scheme of, like you said, having a roof to come, over our head, able to come home. There are a lot of people out there that are a lot less fortunate that, lost their homes in New Orleans, but like Nigel has said earlier, in the Bayou region, especially, and for some of you guys that are listening out there, maybe you're interested in, contributing or giving back to the community in not just New Orleans, but the Gulf South and those really heavily impacted areas. I just want to give you some ideas of organizations you can possibly look into, because I know that they are very welcome and they're very active in looking for donations and also giving back to the community. And if you guys have any, I mean, feel free to drop them too. But like the biggest one I know of is like Second Harvest Food Bank. It's a food bank, and they're just kind of taking donations so that way they can feed people, give people meals, because there are a lot of folks that didn't have power. They had to throw out their refrigerators just from rotted food and mold, and I mean, that's one thing you don't really think about, and I don't want to ever have to deal with ever again. We didn't empty our stuff because, like I said, we left last second, and we came home to full fridges and not fridges, one fridge, but we had like a small freezer and then a larger freezer in our garage. We came home to full freezers and a fridge that we had to get rid of meat and vegetables and just stuff that does not age well in heat. Uh, so yeah, it's just, a lot of people had to throw their appliances away and don't have a place to store them, so they can only rely on these options. So Second Harvest food banks are really good. There's a couple others like Culture Aid, AID, NOLA, NOLA. They do hot meals. I know Howlin' Wolf does meals for musicians. There's another one called Imagine Waterworks that does a lot of stuff in the community. But then these are all kind of New Orleans centric. And I did want to point out there's one other that I found out through a friend of mine called Bayou Fund. There's a couple of organizations that are running this. Their goal is to raise $1 million. They're about halfway there. And this is to provide ice, water, gas, hot meals, food, even smaller cash payments to families that live in those really high impacted bayou regions where they lost their homes, like flooding, and there is nothing for them to go back to. And, those folks, everyone kind of focuses on New Orleans, but you really don't want to forget about them, because as bad as we got it here, they got it probably 10 times worse, maybe more than that, so BayouFund.org, I believe, is their address. The Helio Foundation is one of the organizations that does it. Again, they really support that. They're trying to help rebuild that community. As it's going to take a long time to do that, but every little bit helps. And if you have, if you're interested in contributing, those are a few options just to look into. It's every little bit helps, and I know everyone will appreciate anything that's out there. So it's a little heavy, I know, of an episode, topic wise, but it's just the reality of things going on over here. But we are incredibly excited to be, looking forward to getting kind of heads down back into the weeds of the Crew of Japan podcast. I got it right this time, not Pod of Japan Crewcast. We're ready to get back into the groove of things and put out some quality, exciting Japan related content.
Absolutely. And I echo, everything Doug has just said. And we really look forward to hopping back into taking you on our weekly audio journeys to Japan. So keep your eyes peeled on our social media for updates. But remember, October 1st, we will be launching the first episode of season 2. And Jen, do you have anything to add?
Nope. Just see you in season 2.